Candlestick analysis allows for the observing of the obvious very clear. For example, we saw the big morning star signal when the Dow came back and hit the 200-day moving average with a doji and then opened positive the next day with stochastics in the oversold area. Pretty much gave us an indication that this area right here was going to act as support, especially bouncing off the 200. Makes the logical target back to the top of the trend channel. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get there, but that's the probabilities of where it's likely to move, because that's where everybody can see where it's going to possibly move. We've got the advantage using candlestick signals to see what type of intraday action is going. And right now, as we can see, the uptrend is still in progress. Even though we're back up in the overbought condition, we're not showing any sell signals. Even though the Dow traded off a little bit today, the Nasdaq traded higher. And knowing that the Nasdaq traded higher when the Dow trading lower, that just tells us our trend is still in progress. There really hasn't been any change of investor sentiment. Knowing that there's not going to be any situation where the market started falling out of bed, the trend is still in progress, allows us to take advantage of high probability trade situations. As we can see in a stock that we've been following in the chat room, VISN had a huge breakout, went from $2.50 to hit as high as $18 before pulling back, and it pulled right back to the T-line. Did a doji harame, which told us the selling had stopped, and we would be buyers if it opened positive the next day, which it did today. That just gave us a high probability trade situation, because that's what usually occurs with candlestick signals. It supports or shows candlestick signal buy signals at support levels and confirms by a positive open after a doji. It also allows us to make assessments of chart patterns that are very predictable. For example, our recommendation to buy MLNX today, after buying it over here and taking profits, we bought over here because we had a scoop pattern, which told us that we were going to have a high profit move coming out of that scoop pattern. But the next factor of knowing what happens with price movements is it kind of held steady right here at the 50-day moving average until we saw the bullish engulfing signal occur on Friday with a positive open today. If the 50 was breached and then acted as support, becomes very logical. The next target is the 200-day moving average. And we know what our stop losses are. The T-line has been acting as support as it did today. We continue to hold this until we see a sell signal and or a close back below the T-line. Candlestick analysis is nothing more than visual common sense put into a graphic depiction, and that visual common sense has been pretty well illustrated by the Japanese rice traders after 400 years of seeing what human emotions usually do and be able to put it on a graphic chart. That'll be it. We'll see you in the chat rooms.